Hey guys, this is Locke. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about masteries, about at what level you should be starting to invest in them, and also talk about the new masteries that were added, like from level 100 to level 150. When should you devote resources to them? At what level should you stop at? Basically everything about masteries. I'm actually going to start from the very beginning. I'm going to talk about your minimum point of where you should be starting to invest in masteries. Like for example, I mean, if you start the game and you're a level 10, there is absolutely no reason for you to spend all of your rubies and get your mastery to level 150 when you're level 10. That doesn't make any sense. You should not do that. So what's the minimum point that you should be starting to invest in? It actually depends on where you are in the story. The moment you get into the very hard chapters, so if you get into, like, say, very hard chapter 1, and just give me a minute while I get there. You'll be fighting at the end of chapter 1. You'll be fighting the Kucha boss, this guy, and he has a very, very high chance of inflicting burn to your party. So even if you happen to have a level 50 Gullihan and you give him like a 5-piece skill up set, you will still not have enough resistances unless you invest in your masteries to be able to take on Kucha. Now, you might actually, for Kucha itself, you might be able to get away with using the a tactical formation, which gives your whole party extra resistances. But at some point, like, maybe chapter 2, or maybe I think it was chapter 4, something like that, you will soon find out that you're not able to correctly get everybody into the tactical formation to give them the proper resistances. So I strongly suggest that when you are at the chapter 1 very hard, that's when you start thinking about resistances. Now, let me just go over some numbers here to explain what I mean. So now, where I am in the game, my level 50 Gullihan has level 19, of the skill with a 5-piece set, but I also do have a legend belt which is giving me +3 skills, and I already invested the level 80 masteries. So if I take all of those away, like if I take away -3 skills from here, -1 skill from the level 80 mastery, I'm actually ending up with significantly lower. So I was at 19, so it's -4, so it would be at 15, which is only giving me 66% burn resistance, right? And that is just not enough. So what you really want to be getting at that point, you probably want to have at least a level 1, a +1 skill from the belt. I think that's I think that's easily achievable. I think for most players, I think at least a +1 skill from the belt is okay. But when you start looking at the masteries, you will see that at your level 80 mastery, you get a +1 skill again. So that's also going to increase, even your resistance skills by +1, giving you an extra 4% resistance. So 4% from that, 4% from your arena belt. And most of the time, like most likely, you will also need an extra 10% coming in from your level 90 mastery. By the way, you would also be getting 5% from the 65 level mastery as well. So around the very hard chapter 1, whenever you get to that, you'll most likely be around around level 50 to 60, around there, and that's when you should start investing in your mastery. To be clear, whenever you start investing in your masteries, you are spending gems. Like for example, if you just happen to get all the way to a level, I don't know, level 100 or something, right? So you are actually saving a lot of gems by not spending the gems to unlock these masteries, because you can, um, you know, whenever you reach that level, you unlock these masteries, or you can pay gems in advance to unlock them. But if you are waiting, right, like if you're waiting until level 80 to hit the skill and you don't spend the rubies to invest in it, you're basically going to be stuck in the very hard chapter for a very long time. Like you might be able to get by the first few ones, like maybe Kucha is okay, maybe the pirate one is okay as well because they cause burn, and you might be able to get away with the correct formation. But soon you will find that you just get stuck. So around that time you'll probably be level 50 or level 60. So I would suggest get to the closest level. If you're like level 54, then make sure you get to level 55 so you can unlock the level 55 mastery for free. Then spend your gems to get from 60 to 80, if not 90. level 90 masteries is almost like the minimum point that you really want to be to get through the PvE content. If you don't have level 90 mastery, the very hard content is going to be really, really difficult for you because these status effects are very powerful. Like even one burn, if it slips through, it can completely destroy your party. So that this is the minimum point. You really want to at least get to the level 90 masteries by the time you are doing the very hard chapters. So now with the new masteries that were added, what do I think about them? I mean, I think they're interesting. They're very powerful. The one that stands out to me the most is actually this one, the level 130 mastery. Um, and I think that, you know, I think even for players that are like free to play, I think aiming for this level 130 mastery at some point is a good goal to have. And let me explain why. So right now, I'm expecting that everyone has Cosette because you were given the Cosette ticket. So I would assume that you have Cosette. You have Karen, right? So you have the best healer, you have the best DPS. All the other units that you need for raids are green units and blue units. So, like for example, if you're doing the pirate raid, you should have Gully Hand by now. You probably also should have the blue Len, uh, wherever she is, if we can find her. Oh, there she is. So you should have the blue characters, you should have the green characters, and now you have the best healer and the best DPS. So if you are spending your gems to get new heroes, these heroes are not actually going to be helping you to do your raids anymore. Sure, they'll help you in PvP. They might help you in additional content, like for example, they might help you in the guild raids. They might help you in whatever other content that's being released. Oh, and also like the uh, like maybe the Shane Nestor raid, right? Like that, like Evan might help you there. But for the raids that we already have, you know, like the main raids, all of these, uh, the units that you have already that you have access to now is going to help you in most of these. The only ones that might be an exception is maybe the Dunfrost Fortress, where having Shane Plus might be a boon and you might not have that. So once you get that, it might be a lot easier for you. And the Battlefield of Retribution might also be, you know, you might also want to do the burst it down as soon as possible. But if you're ignoring these two, right? For all of these three, you have the best possible units to do this raid with. So if you're having trouble with it, maybe focusing on masteries instead of pulling units is what you should do. And the reason I'm telling you that is because once you get to this level 130 mastery, right, and you get the increased status effect resistance by 10%, this means that your units like Galihan or Henry can actually start removing pieces of this and replace it with pieces of like armor, like the defense set or yeah, most likely the defense set, because basically 10% of status effect resistance is the same as 2.5 levels of skill. So you might be able to get away with just using two pieces of this skill up set, or you might even not need any. I don't remember the exact number that you need, but you either need only two pieces of the skill up set, or you need none. However, getting to this level 130 mastery is quite a commitment because it is. I mean, even assuming that you are at level 90, from level 90 to 130 is quite a lot. So it would be like, we'll say nine. No, wait. So let me just count how many it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would be like what, maybe like 40,000 rubies or something. So it's quite a commitment, right? So I mean, getting to there will be a challenge, but the reason I want to bring this up is because I see a lot of players spending cancel this. I see a lot of players spending a lot of rubies on these new characters. Evan is released and he's very powerful. He has all the hype. I gave him a very good review, and a lot of people pulled for him. And I mean, people spent 15K, 30K rubies on him. There are people that have saved up like 90K rubies and are saving them to pull on your units that are being released. And that's fine. Like you should do whatever makes you enjoy the game more. But I think these will have a huge impact to the game, and especially if you're having trouble doing like especially these three raids, consider investing them in your masteries instead, because that status effect resistance will help your you know your skill up, your like your resistance characters to wear defensive gears, making you more easily able to do it. Like for example, think about Gullihan doing the Gigantus raid. He dies so easily, right? Like Gigantus does a lot of damage. He hits the hardest out of any of these bosses. 67k attack compared to like the other ones that have, you can see, like 45, 38. So Gigantus is really hard, and Gullihan, when I did it, I had to do it with skill up gears, and so he kept dying a lot. This was the hardest raid for me. But now imagine doing it with skill up. Sorry, instead of skill up gear, you're using defense gear. So that's gonna make your raid a lot easier, right? Because Gullihan still isn't a tank, but at least he's able to now wear tank gears instead of the skill up gears. So I think the level 130 the level 130 mastery of status effect resistance by 10%, I think this is really important. Especially for like the players that are not able to do the T15 raids yet, because those are the players that will benefit from it the most. Like for me, I'm already able to do this. I already have the legend belt. I already have uh you know yeah, I have the legend belt already. I'm getting +3 skills. Like I don't need this, but the players that are not there yet are the ones that will need this for PvE. So this game is really about resource management, right? Like spending about 40k. I don't even know if it's exactly 40k. It's just a rough estimate. But like spending 40k rubies will take a very long time, and you have to really make some sacrifices. You won't be able to pull, like that's like three pities that you're giving up, right? So it is painful, but in my opinion, I think this is worth the long run to have it at least this. And again, you don't have to do it straight, right? Like you don't have to save exactly 40k and then go from 90 to 130. You can do it slowly. So 95 is a very good mastery as well, because it helps you to do more damage in 4-player and 8-player raids, which is what you really want to be farming. You really want to be this is a very good way to this is a good thing to unlock. 100 is also good because increasing your attack or defense by 15% is, in my opinion, also a very nice thing to have. 105, this is, I feel like it's not that great. I mean, I heard that Karen just got nerfed. I was reading the patch notes, and it said that apparently her heal was healing more than it was supposed to be, so now they nerfed it. So now that it's been nerfed, maybe this is a little bit important. I will just tell you the difference between the two. If you are Karen, and she is healing, like especially if you are in a 4-person raid and you are playing as Karen, then you want to take the skill because it's going to increase the recovery that you're giving to everyone, right? But if you are in a 4-player raid and you're not Karen, then you actually want to have this skill because it increases the amount of healing that you receives. So if you are Karen, you want to be this skill. If you are not Karen, you want to have this skill. If you are doing content that is like single player, then you probably want to get this because it's higher than the 15. That's what I think about it. If I'm wrong about it, I mean, let me know. But as far as I understand, that's how I understand how the skill works. This skill, so I would have thought this was nice, but from some of my initial tests that I did, it seems like this is not really being calculated properly. So it feels like this is just not being added into the calculation. That's what I found from some initial tests. Maybe they fix it. Hopefully they fix it by now because it's been a couple of days. But it basically increases the chance of meeting a boss. And this is not like you have 3%. It doesn't go from 3% to 23%. It's 20% of the 3%. So that'll go to like 3% to like 4% or something like that. But still, like over a long time of farming, and field exploration is a big part of the game. So you'll be spending a lot of time in there. So this will eventually add up to quite a lot of bonuses for you, and bonuses being gear and so on and so on. Universal characters. Now this, I really like this mastery. Universal characters, especially in PvP, are becoming quite a force to deal with. One of the reasons I like them is because the other units, like for example DPS units or rangers, they are now being targeted. The newest addition to the game, Evan Plus, he's basically able to target DPSs, right? And like Shane, for example, Shane is supposed to target supports, but if the supports isn't there, then she will target DPS characters, or she will target rangers. However, with universal characters, they're almost like tanks. So if you have a team of one tank at the beginning and three other universal characters, all of these units that are supposed to target the DPS will now target the tank. The universal characters behave sort of like tanks in that sense, but they do a lot more damage than tanks. So I really started liking them, and I started using a lot of them more, recently. And so this mastery is really going to help them do even more damage or be even more tankier, depending on what you use, like attack or defense. So I really like this skill as well. So I mean, from ever since, like 90, you can stop at any of these points. You don't have to go all the way from 90 to 130, as I said. But if you have a little bit of rubies, maybe you can go stop at 95 for now, and then a little bit more rubies, stop at 100, and so on and so on. All of the ones that I said so far seem like they're pretty good masteries. Now, when we get to 120, this one to me, I mean, Guild War is nice, but I feel like it's it's a bit like icing on the cake. So for me, I didn't really, like 120 and 125, I didn't pay too much. I didn't give it like too much importance. Like it's something like it's an icing on the cake to help you do a little bit better in these content, but to me, it's not that worth it. So maybe 115 is a good stopping point until you amass enough rubies to go from 115 to 130. That's what I did actually. I was actually just able to get 130 with the 2K ruby compensation that we received today. So that was thankfully enough for me to go and finally unlock this, which is what I really wanted to do. But yeah, I mean, like Guild Wars, I think is nice, but usually I feel like Guild War fights are very one-sided. So that's why I feel like this doesn't really help that much. I mean, for close fights it will, but I mean the number of times where it's a close fight, I think is not, because the number of times it's a close fight is not often. So that's why I feel like this is not as useful as some of the other masteries. And same with the guild. Sorry, is this Guild War? Yeah, and this one. And same with the guild raid. I mean, it's nice as well, and you're able to score a little bit higher, but the rewards are not that great, such that, if it was something else, I think some other content I would have preferred it instead than Guild War or Guild Raid. But that's my personal opinion about it. So what about from here? What about, after 130? So again, this is mostly like Guild War, Guild Raid content. So these two, I'm probably not going to invest in either of these until I have enough to go from 130 all the way to 150. So we'll probably be saving, my rubies, and if I need to spend it on a unit, then I will have to think about it and delay my plans to get to 150. But I'll probably not be in a hurry to unlock 135 or 140, and probably not 145 either. I have to really think about it. I don't think that useful right now. But anyway, so 135. Yeah, this will again help you do a little bit better in Guild War, but I've already talked about it, and I feel like the comments I said before apply to this one as well. And for 140, Guild Raid, again, same thing. Like, you're probably going to score a little bit higher if you're using these Guild Raid masteries, but I don't feel like the rewards for like the very next tier that you're able to do, I don't feel like that's enough, in my opinion, to justify rushing to get this. So that's why I feel like I can take it easy until I get to 150. And 145, okay, so I do like Arena, and usually I like, the stats that you get in Arena, but I feel like decreasing the block rate and crit rate by 10% in Arena, I feel like that's not that useful. Most of the time people will be running very high crit anyway. So if crit rate goes from 100% to 90%, you're still taking a lot of critical hit, right? So, I mean, I don't know. To me, it doesn't feel like that's very significant. And block rate as well. I guess this would really depend on if the Al Rudy is being seen in teams a lot or not. So it could potentially be a very useful mastery to have if you're fighting Rudy a lot. But still, again, it's 10%. I would have preferred something else, like decreasing opponent's defense or something like that. I think would have been better. But this is what we have. So this is why I'm not that keen on these three masteries, but the last one I think is great. Like increasing, allies attack by 5% or allies defense by 5% in every single content. Yeah, this will be very good. But again, you have to spend, what is it, like more than 40K rubies and masteries to get from 130 to 150. So again, it's an opportunity cost. Like, do you give up 3 PDs to get to that? I mean, that's basically the $1 million question here, right? So you have to think about it. And for me, it's not a rush for me right now. Hopefully, at some point, I'll be able to get to it, but it's not a huge rush. I think 130 for me was a rush. And for me personally, I liked 130 because it's going to help me in PvP. Because, I mean, status effects is everywhere, and more units are coming out that have heavy status effects. So having resistance to these status effects is going to be huge for Arena. And so that's why I wanted to rush to get to 130. But for players that, aren't that into PvP, or even players that aren't doing well in PvP, this is going to help you in PvE as well, especially if you haven't cleared the T15 raids. It's going to help you to clear them by making some of your resistance characters be able to outfit in more defensive gears. Because, like, even if you're doing like the Exodus raid, right, and you have the Green Henry, and he gets 1 shot or he gets like 2 shot or something, then your raid's gonna fall. Because, I mean, if you get paralyzed, it's really hard to come out of that, because he does a ton of damage after he paralyzes you. So to get out of that, this master that. So anyway, these are my thoughts about the masteries. I thought I would make this video and share my thoughts. If you guys have other opinions, if you disagree with me, again, feel free to leave them. Leave the comments so I can read them and discuss with you, and also that other people can read the comments as well and form a more informed opinion. So anyway, that's it for me for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Take care now.